And here we are, guys. We're for the big game of the day. India versus Pakistan here at Chester Boughton Hall Cricket Club. It looks like Pakistan are going to have first use of the wicket here. Going to invite into the commentary box with me is LMS founder Wayne Grieve. Hi, Wayne.
Good afternoon, Lee. This should be a cracker.
We've had a fantastic morning's cricket with Singapore beating the Welsh in the first game of the day, and then Sri Lanka looking extremely impressive over a very strong Australian side. But this certainly whets the appetite, and I know that looking at some of our figures online, that there's a lot of people tuning into this match.
Yeah, and the big man himself, number 12, that's Abdul Razzaq. He can play a bit, Lee.
It appears so. His numbers in all forms of cricket are quite incredible, but this guy has represented Pakistan in all formats. And listening to Nick Compton before, who's played with Abdul Razzaq, he was saying what a magician he is. That there's nothing that this guy can't do.
Yeah, and it's interesting. They've sent him in first up in the previous game. Australia held Marcus North back to number 5. That was possibly a mistake. What is your view on that, Lee?
Look, I think it's very easy to use these marquee players straight away. I think the way that Abdul Razzaq plays is probably more suited to being in with this hard ball during the power play. Marcus North, he could bat anywhere in that side. I think, I'll be honest with you, I think the Australians will be disappointed with some of the other guys in the top order. I think they went about it maybe playing on AstroTurf wickets and some harder wickets in Australia. They, a lot of weight through the back foot and looking to play off the back foot. As we know in England, especially up north here in Chester, you've got to look to try and get forward as much as you can.
Okay, so the opening bowling for the Indian side is Boughton Raja, and the two batsmen are Razzaq and Hassan Bhatti.
And straight away India employing the tactic of going into the wicket there. Razzaq just rocked back. I think he's just played a practice shot there of him trying to pull that away, so obviously he's just had a little sighter there, but I'm pretty sure if it's banged in again, I think there may be a slightly different outcome. And that's a wide. Keeper did well there to make sure that didn't go for any more than the extra. So the crowd's just really ramped up in the main pavilion there. There's a real fantastic festival feel to the place today, and obviously with this being the main game.
Ooh, that's the second wide of the over, so that's a penalty of 3. Getting a little bit of waist swing. He's just maybe going to need to start the ball a little bit straighter, maybe channeling it at leg stump. That one was just inside I think he's hit the red line there, hasn't he?
Well, judging by, Razzaq isn't happy with the umpire there. Just making a very gentle gesture that maybe the umpires maybe let him get away with one there. I always think as a batsman it's always good to give the umpire a little glare if you're not overly happy.
That's a better line.
I reckon he's got to be looking for 2 here, but he's going to settle for the single. The bowler did awfully well there. I think the guy out at deep cover was just sat on his heels fractionally there, so the bowler made sure that there was definitely not a second run.
So the skipper of the Indian side, Kohli, is the cousin of Rahul. He's making his way now down to third man for the left-hander. We're in the power play overs, which means you're allowed to set a 4-2 field. That's just the first 4 overs of the innings. So you would think he's going to be looking to bowl outside off stump here. You can't get too straight with this field.
It's nice to see Pakistan going for the left-hand, right-hand combination. That must cause absolute chaos in LMS.
Oh, that's the wrong line for that field. I think he's just struggling with the swing. It's probably swinging a bit more than he's used to. needs to adjust his line. So
he's just saying that, isn't he? He's just he's made the gesture that maybe he needs to start the ball just a lot further outside the off stump to the left-hander. But that's a solid start. I think Pakistan will be happy with that. 8 for none after the first over.
Yeah, 3 wides. So the first wide, that was as in normal cricket, 1 run. That's an extra ball, and then there's 2 more wides. Those balls don't get rebowled, but they goes 3 runs, and they go to the batsman. In last man stands, any wide or no ball goes to the batsman. Batsman retired 50, and they can come back in when the 7th wicket falls.
The thing for India there, though they haven't gone for many runs off the bat, they'll be really disappointed that in that first over, Pakistan are on 8 for none, and they've had to do absolutely nothing waiting for that.
Yeah, no, they got to make the batsman work for the runs in the early doors.
So this is Praveen coming from the Ron Fleet end here at Chester, into Abdul Razzaq, into the wicket, banged in. And like I said in the previous over, he had one look at that short ball, a massive roar off the back pitch there in the Masters tournament as well there, Wayne. It's great to have 2 games on here at Chester, looking across.
As we watch the replay, I think they've got a tactic here. They think that Razzaq might be vulnerable to the short ball. I'm not sure if that's the right tactic. I think they've got to get a little bit more up to the batsman there.
I think that shot there, even though he's mistimed it, Wayne, is what they're scared of. They're scared if they pitch up to him that he's known for hitting an extremely long ball. So they're thinking into the wicket, make him hit square. But at the pace that Praveen's bowling at, I think he would be very lucky to get away with that tactic too long to a player of Razzaq's quality.
So the left hand on strike now, Bhatti. They're going with the 4-2 field again. The bowler's got to be aware here. He can't get too straight. With this field, it just allows the batsman to turn it around the corner. There's no fine leg. There's a mid-on. There's a square leg. That's well bowled.
I think Bhatti was semi-interested in the second run there, but I think Razzaq was quite happy to harbour the strike here.
I think there's a clear tactic here. Bhatti's going to work the ball around, and I think it's going to be over to Razzaq to try and clear the ropes. This is going to be exciting, folks.
So Praveen coming in again here. Razzaq was really starting to line him up with the ball before, and he's just eased that beautifully through the offside.
Bhatti's running hard, yeah. Turn for 2, that could be tight. Overthrows. India need to switch on, yeah.
That is frightening how fast the outfield is there.
Yeah.
Brilliant cricket from Pakistan. That always pressure that way.
Yeah, India need to switch on, yeah. That was poor fielding. Great fielding on the outfield, but game awareness. Neither the fine leg or the square leg got around to back up, and that's just basics of the game in any format.
They'll be really disappointed with the start, India. I don't know if it's nerves. Obviously, it must be fantastic to get to play the enemy in Pakistan in the first game, but just being able to settle and get into the tournament as well.
So this is the power play overs. 4-2 field been set. I think India may be missing a trick. When you go 4-2 and you've got one side of the ground covered, there is always the argument to get one fielder in close, just to maybe try and get a dot ball or 2 early doors, build a bit of pressure. It's great to see all the support on the live streaming. There's a lot of Indian supporters. Do we have any Pakistan supporters watching? Let us know who you're supporting in this game.
So LMS has obviously taken off all over the world, Wayne. Obviously with the Indians in the field now, whereabouts in India is it being played?
So we started LMS in Gurgaon, which is in the New Delhi NCR. As we watch now continue. Yeah, so we started at LMS in Gurgaon. We've got leagues in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Pune, Mumbai. LMS is in its early days in India, so the Indian players won't be as experienced as some of the other teams. LMS has been around for a bit longer in Pakistan, so you'll probably see the Indian team improve as the tournament goes on. I think they're going to learn from other teams. There's a lot of tactics in LMS cricket.
Nice to hear that the franchises are being set up in very similar areas to the IPL, because I know obviously that tournament is massively popular all around the world. It's probably the premier T20 tournament.
Be close. Yeah, you're right. We're looking for third. Yeah, we started obviously in the big cities, but there's another area called Coimbatore. To be honest, I hadn't even heard of Coimbatore before I went there, but it's what's known as a Tier 2 city. And Terence and Michael are doing a fantastic job with LMS in Coimbatore.
Pakistan will be extremely happy with the start here at the moment. That's a lovely shot by Bhatti, just out towards that area down the corner by the
well
canal.
Fielded out there. Good commitment there shown. That's better from India.
A nice camaraderie as well. The guys just ran round from long off just to give him a little tap, saying that's exactly the sort of standard that we're looking for in this. And that sort of fielding as well can also inspire the bowler as well. It's been a really tough start for these Indian bowlers, and a good bit of fielding can, you know, definitely give you something to work with as a bowler.
So you'll see the lastmanstands.com join sign. If you're watching this game in India and you fancy playing, or if you're watching in Pakistan, or you're watching it anywhere in the world, if you want to get involved, it's easy. LMS, you just go onto the website, Last Man Stands join. You can enter a team. It can be a team of mates, it could be a corporate league, it could be corporate side, it could be club mates. It's a lot of fun.
So for people who think that there may not be a LMS franchise nearby,
there's a bit of controversy here. Indians think it's out. It's just nicked off the thigh pad here.
I'll be very interested if people are watching online, Wayne. The umpire there definitely went to stretch his arms out for a wide and then rectified it by saying it's come off the thigh pad.
Yeah, that's the old tactic there. I've used that a few times in my life. Sure we all have.
Surely you've never drained one down the leg side, Wayne. No.
So, Pakistan 27 off to 3. The great man himself, Razzaq at the crease, 18 off 11.
So just going back, so for the guys that think that there may not be an LMS franchise in their area, and something that maybe they're interested in, you can see in that top corner, obviously we've got the lastmanstands.com/join there, but there's also, when it flicks around, the franchise as well. If you've got, you know, if you're interested in maybe speaking to someone about a franchise, is that the best way to go about it?
Oh, and that's gone long. Razzaq's, he's off the mark there. That's his first 6. Yes, that's right, Lee. As we watch the fielder collect the ball by the covers on the second field. Yeah, that's right. There's loads of areas still available for anyone that wants to get involved in the LMS community. Just get onto the website lastmanstands.com franchise, or email hq@lastmanstands.com. That's a big hit from Razzaq. It's gone again. Oh, one hand by the field on the boundary.
Just for people watching here, what Razzaq's doing here, Praveen is obviously not got the pace to really bang the ball in, so he's actually just clearing this left leg out the way here. He's just got his weight through his back leg and just accessing those hands and hitting through the line. He's got nowhere near all of that. You know, the ball before has gone 30, 40 yards past the boundary. That one's just crept over, but he's given himself every chance to hit some really big bombs here.
The worrying thing for India is he's hitting it into the wind as well. So that's gone straight up. Fielder under it. It's going to be full safe. I don't know if Razzaq was aware of the double play there. That could have been interesting if the fielder got under that.
It's nice to see from Razzaq, though, as the marquee player. He's came out here with a real freedom, Wayne. And, you know, you look at the scoreboard, it's, you know, just coming up to the end of the 4th over, 40 on the board. And we saw in the Sri Lankan innings that they went off like a train and then stalled a little bit in the middle and then came back strong at the end. It'd be really interesting to see if one of these teams could just keep going through the whole game. I don't know what the depth of the Pakistani lineup looks like today.
It's been chipped up. It's going to fall safe again. Pushing for the second. This could be close. Oh.
Fantastic throw from Coley there. The keeper just couldn't quite grasp it in. But excellent running from Batty there.
Yeah, Coley, the skipper. The cousin of Rahul Coley. Sorry, Rahul is the cousin of Virat Kohli.
Must be great for the family, Wayne, to have two members of the family representing the country at the same time in the same country.
I wonder if Virat's watching this.
He didn't do too bad in the test, did he?
It's edged away. So we're still in the power play overs here. There's a third man. It's the left-hander. And then 3 fielders out on the offside.
So you said that LMS has been maybe going a little bit longer in Pakistan. Do you want to give me a little bit of background into LMS Pakistan?
Yeah, as we just look at the scorecard, I'll come to you on that question in a second. Razzaq 31 from 14. Batty just pushing the ball around, getting Razzaq on strike. Yeah, we've got leagues in Pakistan. We started about 4 years ago. Taimur and Asir doing a fantastic job, very passionate about cricket, and they've done a great job in getting all sectors of Pakistan community involved. We've got leagues in Lahore, Karachi, and they expand into other areas of the country all the time.
And that must be great for you as a founder, Wayne, to see the brand and the game just evolve year after year.
Oh, it's events like this where everyone comes together, and obviously the teams are going to be playing hard, but they also, the exciting thing about these events is a lot of friendships are made, you know. So obviously we've got Facebook, these games have been live streamed, but also the other aspect is a lot of guys become friends and you see new friendships being made, and it's a great chance at events like these for people to test how good they are. You know, you've got your local leagues, but this is a chance to see how good you are in the international stage. Okay, so the new bowler is Dwidji. He played in the national champs final. It's actually in the first ever Indian national champs final, and he's a good little off spinner, very clever bowler. He mixes it up.
I wouldn't mind seeing the replay there. I think that was a drop chance from the keeper then. I think that Batty just rocked back and got a little feather through there. The bowler was appealing and didn't realise the catch had gone down. But straight away, you know, the tactic of coming round the wickets to left-hander nearly bared fruit.
This could be interesting. Razzaq on strike. We know he likes the leg side. And you can see what Dwidji's trying to do there. Looked like the little carom ball there.
It was quite interesting to see in the Singapore game this morning, actually, Wayne, that one of the Singapore bowlers was bowling not a carom ball, but he was actually bowling off-hand leg spin, depending who was on strike. So obviously, it's fantastic to see the bowlers using so much variation.
That's right. Just a little bit of a problem for India here. They haven't got an out-and-out keeper in this game. They've got one of the batsmen who keeps a bit, but in last man stands, and as in any format of the game, the keeper is crucial. And Anurag's just been a little bit sloppy. But to be fair to him, he's not a full-time keeper, and they're going to maybe have to look at that if they're going to want to progress in the tournament. You can't be missing regulation bars like that.
You can also tell he's maybe not a full-time keeper by the fact that he's just slid with his pad on and broke his pad straight away. So superb enthusiasm in the field from Anurag, but he's managed to damage his equipment there, and I'm sure he'll be looking for a replacement to that. But this has been a fantastic start for LMS Pakistan. 47 for none, just coming towards the end of the fifth over. It's a lovely bit of bowling again. Very impressive start this from Dwidji.
It's a good combination. You've got the left-hander and the right-hander, but it's not just the fact that one's left-handed and one's right-handed. It's also the way they complement each other in the way they play. But he realises that Razzaq is here to get his team off to a quick start, and he's just feeding him the strike. And if there's a bad ball, he's put it away.
Well, if we manage to keep this run rate going, Wayne, we'll be looking at 196. Now, we saw in the Sri Lanka game that they managed to defend 180, and I'll be honest, I thought they defended it relatively comfortably in the end. I think it maybe flattered Australia, maybe getting as close as they did.
Well, that looks close. That looks close. The bowler's forgotten to, in all his appealing, he's forgotten to collect the ball.
I think that was extremely close there.
Yeah, we're not quite behind the stump, so it's not fair for us to make an exact call on that, but that also looked very, very tight from where we sit in it.
I'm going to say the only thing that may have saved him there is if he's got outside the line.
Possibly. This is a good bowl, good over here. This is much better from Razzaq.
He's just working Batty's technique here by coming around the wicket. His head's just fractionally falling over here, whereas when he was coming over he was stood up nice and tall, so different challenge for him here. Just flicked away down to fine leg for a single. It's fair to say India are absolutely desperately needing a wicket here, just to stem the flow. Have a look at a different batsman.
Especially for the fact that the Pakistan are hitting into the wind.
He's got plenty of that there.
Oh, that's a superb effort by Bridgie out there on the boundary. He's a very good fielder. We watched him in the Indian national champs. He's committed. He gives everything. Very, very passionate cricketer as well.
We've seen it on the international level and in first class cricket. We've seen Razzaq do this many times, where if you pitch it up to him and you're a fraction out, he's so destructive down the ground.
Now that's a quality shot there. He just showed his class. Just opened the face.
You'll see it on the replay there, just how at the very last minute he set his base beautifully and just manipulated the hands to take it through cover.
He's hit that straight off middle stump as well.
So for some of these LMS India bowlers, what would they be thinking now? Obviously, bowling to Abdul Razzaq in full flow.
Get him to 50 as quickly as possible. When you get to 50, you have to retire. So I think they'll be looking forward to seeing him walking back to the pavilion. Hopefully out, but even if it's 50 not out, they'll try and build some dot balls against the new batsman.
Got a chance to run out if he went straight away there at the non-striker's end. I've been really impressed with this off-spinner, Dwidgy, in his start here. He looks like he's really testing Batty at the moment.
Yep. These conditions, the wickets are getting drier as the day goes on, so you'd think that spin's going to become more and more into it.
That's gone 30 metres back there from Razzaq.
I'm afraid that's into the wind as well, Lee. I'd hate to see what he'd be doing if he's hitting in the opposite direction.
Well, I really hope he retires before we swap ends, because I'm not sure that some of the home insurance policies will cover Razzaq if he's facing this way, because that was an absolute monster blow down the ground. Like I said, 20-30 metres over the rope, beautiful swing of the bat, and that takes him on to 47. So it'll be interesting to see if he just cruises to his 50 here, or I think he's more likely to try and send another one into orbit here.
We've got a few people commenting on the live feed. Sumit Sir says, what is LMS? Sumit, please tell us where you're from. Presume you're in India or Pakistan. Tell us who you're supporting. LMS stands for Last Man Stands, and it's 8-a-side T20 cricket.
Okay, he's going to push here. He's gone out into that long part of the ground there. I think Razzaq's disappointed there. He thought Batty maybe could come back, and he was also hoping to get to 49 so we could just have one more shot at maybe hitting a 4 or a 6 there, Wayne. So leaves Batty on strike here to Dwidge.
That's gone straight up. Does Razzaq know about the double play? This could be a double play. Oh, that's a great effort from Dwidge. I think one of the fielders probably on the boundary should have taken responsibility coming in there. Never easy going over your shoulders, the bowler.
That's one of those moments, Wayne, that in an 11-a-side game that would have been comfortable for someone just to walk around, and a bowler bowls a good ball like that in last man stand. It must be awfully frustrating.
Yeah, with T20 and LMS, it's always a batter's game, but
nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it's fair to say Razzaq had absolutely no interest there in getting an easy single. He's ended up with one, but by absolutely swinging himself off his feet out to deep square leg there.
So it's interesting to look at the strike rate here. Batty, accomplished player, 16 from 16. And then Razzaq striking it at 222 into the wind. I think if it was downwind, it would have been 444.
So we're looking so far, Pakistan going at 10 and over. 70 for none off 7. We're here at the LMS World Cup here at Chester Boughton Hall. It's been a fantastic day's cricket so far, with Singapore and Sri Lanka winning their games over Wales and Australia respectively. I tell you what, that wouldn't have been far away there at all.
Yeah, the new bowler's Vaibhag Singh. That one looked to come out of the back of the hand. So watch this closely. Yeah.
That could be our second ball into the canal today. Very much enjoyed by the supporters down there. A lot of the locals here at Chester really enjoying it.
Well batted, Abdul Razzaq.
The whole Pakistan, it's fantastic to see the whole Pakistan team on the feet there, Wayne. Obviously build up a very quick rapport with the franchise player.
Yeah, Abdul Razzaq, he was at the welcome function last night. He looked a little bit nervous. He hasn't played LMS before. He didn't show any nerves there. Great knock. And he's applauded by his teammates coming off. A few people local to Chester have come in to specifically watch Abdul today, and he hasn't let them down.
So 24 balls with a strike rate of 229, 5 sixes, 3 fours. So he won't have took too much out for when he bowls later. Minimised his running between the wickets there. So it'll be interesting to see what Batty does now. Do you think he'll just keep letting them bat around him, or?
Well, we'll probably get an inkling soon. The new batsman is Mohammed Ahmed. He looks like he's got long levers, so I presume he's going to try and keep the impetus going. And Batty makes sense if he just carried on playing the way he is. And that's better from Ahmed.
So the leagues over in Pakistan, are they played on turf or are they played on AstroTurf?
Played on turf. Played on turf. They're really good grounds.
So I know some of the sides it take a little bit more time to adjust, but if they've been playing on the turf, hopefully this isn't going to be massively different, especially with this extremely dry British summer.
Yeah, you'd think it's going to favour the teams with good spinners. Barbab started well, yeah. It's just maybe the odd one a little bit short. He needs to get it right up to the batsman. Ooh.
Oh, that is unlucky. Very unlucky. And that's just come down to our commentary position. You've got to feel sorry for the bowler there. He's done everything right.
Yeah, that was the arm ball. Should we give him credit? Should we call it the flipper?
It's really nice to see a wrist spinner of quality on show. I know here at Chester we're very lucky to have Jack Williams as a leg spinner who had a successful day yesterday.
Which end does he normally bowl from, yeah?
I'll be honest, Jack will bowl at whatever end he can get on first. He's not fussy, but I know that he does tend to like to come from the end that we're sat here, which would be into the wind today, and use the slope. But with his 6 wickets yesterday, I think he's full of confidence, and I know he's hoping to turn out for Wales later in the week.
Well, LMS Wales would love to have him. Quality leg spinner. As we watch Dwidge to continue. So Dwidge really, we watched him in the Indian national champs. Clever bowler, varies his pace. Not a big turn of the ball. Sometimes the batsmen make the mistake of playing for turn. He varies his pace and he varies his length nicely. Batty's gone deep. This should be out. Well caught.
So that's the first wicket for India. I'd like to see Captain Kohli get his group together here, just trying to take stock of the situation. We saw in that game against Sri Lanka that, you know, if you can manage to rein in these middle overs, that you can certainly bring down that projected score, because at the moment Pakistan are looking at an absolute monster total.
Yeah, the intensity levels of the Indian side are below some of the other teams we've seen in the field. So that's something I think that they're going to learn from. As we said earlier, LMS is a very new format in India, and the good sides are very good fielding sides. So you've seen a bit now already yourself, Lee. You'll realise that the teams that can field well, cut off the angles, it really can make a big difference to the end score.
Well, the Pakistan support and players give Bhatti a warm applause. I think they appreciate which part he played in that partnership with Razzaq to get him off to such a good start.
Yeah, and it's always he's got free license. When you've got Razzaq sitting there in the hat, 50 not out, I don't think fear of being bowled out comes into it. So what it really does is it allows every player to play with freedom. Obviously you're not looking to get out, but if you do happen to get out, then you know that you've got the security of Razzaq coming back in, and if he gets back in here in the second 10 heading downwind, the chairman of the Chester Boughton house could be coming under some real fire. So Dwidge,
a very strong appeal there from Dwidge.
I think that's his sixth. He's asked, how's that 6 times? I think Dwidge needs to get the ball back in his hands and focus on his next ball.
I think what the umpire is saying is that the ball's hit the batsman outside the line of off stump there. There's nothing worse as a bowler, especially when you're bowling, you always believe every ball's out. But I think it maybe looked out, but maybe the laws of the game probably state it wasn't.
Fielder's getting under it. Oh, great effort there, good commitment. So that one was a hairy moment for the batsman. It was up, they were nervous to run. Remember, there's a double play rule in LMS, so if that was taken, the non-striker has to return to the non-striker's end. So there was a bit of indecision in the middle. You're better off keeping the ball on the ground or hitting it over the ropes. Big shot.
Well, the batsman keeper was very, very happy with that take, wasn't he? So he went up he went on massive on the appeal there. It's a modern part of cricket though, where there was always a specialist keeper. Now that there's a lot more batsmen who can take on the role, you know, to play that extra batter.
Yeah, but in this format, you'll see.
On cue.
On cue, and he's blaming the fielder. The fielder's blaming the keeper. But I think the keeper's got to be better than that. I'm not sure he'll be wearing the pads in the next game. We'll have to have a look.
So we've just seen a slight drop off in run rate from Pakistan. Not a lot though. 85 at the end of the 9th. But it was always going to maybe tail off after Razzaq retired.
That's right. I think the Pakistan side were missing 1 or 2 of their key players who didn't get their visas in time, so they will be a little bit down on strength, but we've been told that the guys that replaced them are still handy players. Oh, that's huge. It's gone again. Long levers.
And that's made it into the canal as well. I'm sure as LMS founder, Wayne, you'll be delighted to see, I think that's probably the 3rd ball that's made it into the water today.
Yeah, we've got a bag of spare balls, but not many left. So if anyone knows of a ball shop nearby, please let us know, because we could be in a bit of trouble later on the day. Yeah.
That was quite a lofty strike there. I think the fielder fancied it for a brief second and then watched it sail over his head. I think India desperately just need to just lift that. You mentioned it before, that intensity in the field. They're just a little beat off there. You know, the guys ran round, done a really good bit of fielding, and there wasn't anyone backing up there. So I just think, just need to lift the basics here, help the bowlers out. It's certainly not a surface where a bowler's, licking his lips to be bowling on.
I mean, Dwidge has been good. His intensity's been there. Just others need to have a look at him. He needs to get his troops going. It's pushed out onto the leg side. Just the one.
Bowling pretty flat leg spin here. A few top spinners as well there. So good variation, keeping the batters honest here at this portion of the game. Still, the run rate up around the 10 and over mark. So still looking for 200 Pakistan. That looked like it was either out the front of the hand or an off spinner there. They're potentially looking for a 3 here.
They might be able to run 5 here. The fielder was very slow to react there.
And to be honest, they probably should have ran 4 there.
Yeah,
I think.
they should have. Yeah. So I think the India team will be searching for a fielding coach here. Their standard is just not where it needs to be. We know they've got a lot of batting in the team. There was always going to be a question mark behind their bowling and fielding. We know that anything around 180 they'll fancy themselves. They've got a lot of guys that can hit a long ball in this Indian side. At the moment it's looking like it's getting away from them. This could be over 200 if it continues like this.
So Ahmed has done really well so far. He's 19 off 8. Altaf's came in and just got 3 off 4 so far, but you can sense that he's quite happy to give the strike to Ahmed at the moment, who's done a fantastic job hitting that massive 6 into the canal just a few balls earlier. And we've swapped ends now, so they're hitting down towards the slightly shorter boundary. The wind's just dropped a fraction here, looking at some of the bowling figures.
It's going to be interesting to see how this game plays out from here. 100 up the first 10 into the wind.
The captain, Rahul Kohli, taking the responsibility the first over after the change here. But Ahmed has came out in a distinctive red hat with a real intent to kick on, with a strike rate over 200 already.
Yeah, continuing where Abdul Razzaq left off.
Is that going to reach? I think he's going to be just short here.
That's well taken.
That's a fantastic catch.
Kohli's claiming it. That was short. It was there to be hit. Just not timed it.
That was a lovely catch by Kanish.
Testing. 1, 2. Big mic. We got them. Is that all? That's a bit. Oh, that's an ankle, buddy.
Guys, I'm going to be taking a break. Joining Lee in the commentary box is Tamerla. Tamerla going to be doing a bit of Hindi commentary mixed with English. So hope it goes well for the rest of this match, Lee, and I'll be watching closely from the sidelines.
Thanks Wayno. Welcome.
Thanks, Wayne. Thanks, Lee.
So 100 for 2. What are your thoughts as a Indian supporter here at the moment?
They're a little bit floppy on the fielding side, but I'm sure they'll recover from here. If they get two or 3 wickets, they'll be back in the game. And Captain Kohli, as they're saying in Hindi, put 4 foot behind. The fielders are saying 4 foot behind the ball.
So they've obviously decided after Praveen was relatively expensive early on. They've decided to slow the the bowling down as Assad has just hit it strongly into the leg side. What would your thoughts be here? Would you continue with this slower bowling?
It's just a trick they're playing at the minute because the wicket seems helping slow bowlers rather than pacers. And you can see the fielders saying in Kohli to Hindi, "Dhire kar, slow down the ball."
It's obviously such a massive game for the Indians. I bet they would have liked one game probably before this to get into the tournament.
Yeah, I was talking to players before the match. They're saying, yes, this is a big one to start with.
That's an amazing throw, that right over the top to the keeper.
I'm not sure keeper has collected that.
Oh dear. It was a brilliant throw though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good throw, but I don't think so keeper has collected. There was a good chance of run out there.
Wouldn't mind watching a replay of that, because it was absolutely over the top of the stumps. There we go.
See, I was right there.
You must have much better eyes than me.
Thanks, Lee. Vaibhav is on the bowling now. I think sloppy fielding there. The catch dropped and gone to the boundary as well.
It's such a tough format. You know, if the fielding's not absolutely spot on.
See, slow one to start with.
Completely misjudged it, and that is exactly not what was needed by the Indians. But
there's one more.
Four byes. So India have got to do something about this now, because Pakistan are starting to get away from them.
Yeah, anything about 200 is always tough on this wicket.
And you know, the run rate's over 10 now, so you know they could be closing in on 200 or more. I'm sure that the Indians wouldn't fancy chasing 200.
Definitely not on this wicket, and Pakistan has got good bowling attack as well.
You play locally, don't you? Do you want to tell me a bit about where you play?
Yes, certainly. I've started Westminster Park Cricket Club 10 years back, and this is going to be 10 years next year.
Oh, congratulations. You must be delighted with that.
Yeah, and we are all like from India, Pakistan, Sri Lankan doctors, professionals. And club is doing well, and this year we are playing last man stands as Indian Masters.
Have you been enjoying that?
Oh, it's brilliant.
And I know that you've got a couple of games later in the week. I know that both of us are hoping to play in that Masters tournament as the ball goes up in the air.
Chance there.
A big cheer goes up from the Pakistan fans as the ball just hits the deck there.
Praveen
Yeah.
has misjudged that one completely.
Despondent bowler there as he done all the hard work, a top edge out into the deep from Assad, and he continues. He's a very, very dangerous player here.
See Vaibhav mixing his off and leg. He's trying all variations here.
I think he's desperately just trying to find, you know, well, he found a solution, didn't he? He thought he got the wicket, and then there's nothing worse as a bowler. You know, you do all the hard work, and then you expect the fielders to do their job, and he's been let down there. So that takes us to 121 for 2.
8 more overs to go.
So what sort of side of the Indian Masters got out? Are you looking strong?
We are alright. We got a couple of good batsmen who scored already 400 in the season, so looking forward to that.
So I know Westminster Park, you're right in the mixer at the top of your league, aren't you?
Yeah, we are in 3rd place, so hopefully getting promotion on this year. Fingers crossed for that.
Well, fingers crossed for you. I'd really like that. I know you've done some fantastic work at Westminster Park.
Thanks for that.
And long may it continue as we move on to 121 for 2 here.
Rahul Kohli has to step up as a captain as well.
He's just bowling a little bit more back of a length here. I'd like to see him maybe bring his fine leg round. He's bowling with no real pace, and the batsmen look like they're trying to work it a little bit higher up. So I think that the field could come up a lot squarer as he bowls a good ball there and no runs scored.
That is absolutely correct. You can see he's mixing for right-handers, off-spin, and left-handers, slow medium pace. There's a chance. And spin to
Oh no, it's been dropped again. I've got a funny feeling that some of these Indian players may be doing some fielding practice tonight, because
certainly
I think that's probably the 3rd or 4th catch that's gone down. So they're creating the chances, but it's just giving the Pakistan batsmen a license to play whatever shots they want at the moment, because they're just not being punished at all.
And you can see skipper Rahul is not happy with the fielder as well.
Very tight call down the leg side there. Good take by the keeper. I'm sure some of the Indian supporters would love a wicket now.
Definitely, they're waiting in the pavilion for a long time for a wicket. 3 drop catches after the last wicket.
It's not ideal, but all I'd say is Captain Raul Kohli here has only gone for, it's about 7 and over,
yes,
which in the context of things is very, very good.
There's a message from the dugout saying that go for shots. We got a lot of batsmen waiting for that. They'll be saying in Hindi, chalo maro maro, time aa gaya.
So just looking at the projected scores here, we're looking at 10 and overs 196. I think Pakistan will be looking nearer that 210 mark.
Yeah, 210 or 224, because still they got 8 wickets in hand. So
yeah, the Indians be having nightmares if they got 14 and over
Bowling
all the way in now. So you know, I think a couple of wickets now they can really stem the run flow.
He's scoring there.
Absolute right for that.
That's a lovely bit of flight there from Singh, who goes into his 4th over. He's been extremely unlucky. He's none for 33 at the moment, but he's been the victim of some of the poor fielding.
That's true.
A little bit flatter there, little top spinner, goes out to deep mid wicket.
Straight away he said do. That means 2 runs on the board.
It's a fantastic insight, because obviously not being able to understand what some of the guys are saying there, but he's
Pakistan-India match, any format.
Oh wow!
Certainly.
I think that's one of the biggest sixes of the day from Assad.
Yeah.
Not quite making it into the canal. But after Razzaq
stepping out and hitting
retired, the run rate just dropped a fraction, but all of a sudden the Pakistanis have put their foot to the floor now, and all of a sudden it's starting to rain a couple of sixes.
That's an easy one.
Oh.
As you can see, Vaibhav is a short man, so
So what can we expect from the Indian batting?
they got a strong batting lineup. So I was talking to them before the toss. They were saying 180 be easy to chase it down. So if it's 210, a little bit hard work for them.
Yeah, a little bit less easy. No one backing up here, but a good throw into the keeper on the bounce, and that takes us to the end of the 14th over. So we've got Altaf 8 off 9, and Assad is 27 off 15. A little shout there from one of the Indian fielders saying that they've only got 15 minutes here to bowl 6 overs. Is there a time limit to how many overs you can?
They have an hour and a half to finish T20 overs, so they're way behind. So by this time there should be only 4 overs left. So is one more shot, or is it in the hands? Yes! This time it's been taken, and he's trying for both.
Oh wow, it's just come through and hit the batsman there on the way through. Excellent sportsmanship from the Indian team, straight away across to the batsman from Pakistan, who's took a blow. We're trying to go for the double play. It's a pity, because it was an excellent bit of fielding from the Kanish.
Good to see Captain Kohli going and saying the batsman, are you okay?
Well, that's part of the game in LMS, isn't it? You know, obviously the ball is still alive, and he's trying to get the double play there. I think getting a double wicket would certainly help India at the moment, because at 136 for 2, we're looking at a mammoth total.
Razzaq Khan is the new batsman here.
So Dwidge managing to get the wicket there. I think he's been the pick of the Indian bowlers so far, 2 for 17.
Otherwise, yeah, he's a good bowler. He's mixing everything here.
So have all these guys from India travelled over for this event?
Yeah, they are from all parts of India. They're from Delhi, Hyderabad.
And as we say about how impressive he's been, he's just picked up his 3rd wicket.
So India should be aiming at 180 now.
Just looking at some of the teams that some of the Indian players come from. Do you want to give me a little bit of a insight into where some of these guys are from?
Certainly. Captain. Certainly, I can see Kohli is from the North India, Delhi, where Virat Kohli comes from.
Well, we were hoping that maybe he sat in the hotel after the disappointment of the Test match.
That's true. Yesterday,
I'm sure you were heartbroken about the result of that.
Certainly, it was a disappointing result, but it was a good Test match to watch. Actually,
it was enjoyable, wasn't it?
I was there on the 2nd day on the ground, so I was enjoying it.
Wasn't it? Was there a good atmosphere?
Oh,
let's go.
That was a close.
Oh wow! Could that? I think that was a hat-trick ball as well.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's absolutely mortified.
And he's still pleading for the umpire.
And the umpire hasn't signalled anything, so I'm suggesting that there's a bottom edge there. I'm looking forward to watching that on the replay, because I was giving that out from here. So we're just going to watch it back now. Dwidge came in. Oh
it's
wow!
Out.
Wow. So that looked extremely close. Without Hawkeye, it's impossible to say whether that was going to go on and straight onto his stumps, but I'm feeling comfortable in my own eyesight there, and I feel like that looked like it was out.
The bowler's already said the umpire before the ball in Hindi, saying that watch for the ball, it's going to be a
So Dwidge here, just coming to the end of his final over, 3 for 17.
It's a good shot. Only for 1.
Pakistan have just decelerated an awful lot in the last 2 overs here. They've obviously been
2 wickets has put them back.
Well, in any form of cricket, wickets does tend to stem the run flow. And what I'd say as well is that obviously they know they've got Razzaq in the hutch as a retired player. I think some of these guys are not overly worried about the consequence of getting out at the moment, because I think they'll be quite excited at the thought that Razzaq maybe could have another hit.
That's true, yeah. You can come back for the bat and go for it. There's one more in there. Keeper's call, I should say. Keeper.
That's an amazing attempt from the keeper there. He had to travel probably 20-30 metres there.
Good thinking by Kohli, back straight away with the ball to the stumps.
He seems very switched on, Kohli. Has he played a lot of LMS?
Yes, Kohli has been playing LMS from a long time. I was just talking to his mother, and he travelled to South Africa with him to watch him South Africa as well.
That's a very, very strong strike there.
It's a short ball, got punished.
And that's a maximum. Assad's been excellent so far. That takes him on to 36 off 19. Strike rate of 189. He's shown you just cannot drop the ball short to this lad. He frees his arms, opens that front leg, and Kohli's been punished there.
That's right, and you can see Kohli's from Delhi, Kanishk from Delhi, and there's players from all over India. It's from North India and South India as well. There's a couple of players from Hyderabad as well.
Is there much of a rivalry between the north and the south of India?
Yeah, like here we got North Zone, South Zones, same there as well. We got, like you got Essex, Lancashire and Yorkshire games. We have the same format in India as well. We got North India and South India.
So what would the tournament be called in? So the county championship over there, what's that called in India?
We call it Ranji trophies. And you can see Mumbai is one of the strongest team in Ranji trophies.
Mumbai is very famous for Tendulkar, isn't it?
That's where he's born from.
So Bilal gets off the mark there. A number of left-handers in the Pakistani ranks.
I heard when Bilal was standing there saying that he's waiting for his opportunity from a long time. Fielders are saying we got short time. Come in. Because we haven't got much time left. Is it 1 hour short if you don't fill in time?
Well, we've got the LMS founder Wayne Grieve coming round. I'm sure we can clarify with Wayne the rules of there's an overlap on time. Just going to pull Wayne in just to explain there, because I think that's a very, very good point. You know, with 4 overs to go, India are very, very short on time here. I'm just going to pass you over to Wayne just to explain the rules for us.
You've got the team has got 70 minutes to bowl the overs, so 65 minutes to bowl the overs. Obviously, the umpires do take account for water breaks, as we've seen now. So they probably had a few water breaks. I think they're probably 2-3 minutes behind, so they're going to have to speed up their over ratio. There's a chance they're going to be penalised, but I think the umpires have got this in hand. But yeah, in last man stands, you've got 65 minutes to bowl your 20 overs.
Thanks for that insight, Wayne. Fantastic to have.
So they got 10 minutes to finish 4 overs now.
So the only thing that we do need to take into account, if this was a game where we were bowling from alternate ends, then it would make a massive difference trying to get the fielders in position. So really, it's just about the bowlers getting into position quickly, as that's another boundary from Assad. He's been absolutely superb so far. After Abdul Razzaq's early onslaught, he's came in and really carried the mantle on here and keeping Pakistan moving towards that 190-200 mark. Praveen's just found a dot there as Assad just backed away to the leg side to create room to carve through the offside.
I'm sure Assad needs another 5 runs for his half century.
I'll be honest, I think with the amount of overs left, I don't think he's bothered about it. I think he just wants to hit every ball as far as he can at the moment. But he's called too early there. A lovely bit of fielding. India need to stay on top of it here, you know, with the backing up and the fielding till the end here. I know you said that they thought 180 was a chaseable target. They certainly don't want to be chasing 210.
And I can see Praveen is the only guy from South India here. The rest all from North India and Middle India.
So just pushed away down towards long on, and that's another 2 runs. Assad extremely close to retiring now, as that takes Praveen to the end of his 3rd over. None for 38 for Praveen, with an economy of 12. So he was a little bit unlucky early on with some poor fielding from the Indian side. Didn't really support him, but Kohli's going to bowl himself out here now.
Lost off for Kohli yet.
Kohli to Bilal. He's just pushed it into the leg side here. They're not going to look for 2. You know, Assad is on 49.
I'm sure you want to go for a big one here.
What would you do?
Definitely go for a big one.
Go for the 6.
The last thing you want here.
So he's ended up with a single. I'm not sure that's the way he would have wanted to go to 50, but he still got there and retired. Kohli did all the hard work there. He must have ran 10 yards to get there, and then he's put the chance down.
As a batsman, last thing, same for Kohli as well. He should have taken it and sent him in 49. And see, Pakistan-India matches always go like that only.
Always full of drama. So you must feel a little bit more comfortable now as an India fan.
Yeah.
Obviously, this brings in Shahbaz Khan.
That's a very good spinner, Shahbaz Khan. I was talking to them as well.
Really nice applause from an ever-growing crowd for that 50 there as he comes off, as the ball gets miscued down to long off. Now in this position here is with Razzaq. Is it Razzaq next man in now?
Yeah, no, Shahbaz Khan was the next one.
No,
after this Razzaq, or they can.
So would these two batsmen now just be looking to be as aggressive as possible, knowing that they've got Razzaq and they've got Assad to come back in?
Certainly, they'll go for every ball from now onwards. You can see Kohli is not giving any chance there. He's bowling slow mixes there.
It's quite interesting to see an off-spinner bowl over the wicket to the left-hander, looking to bowl into the heel of the batsman, trying to cut out any shots towards the offside. But if you drop it that short, it doesn't really matter what sort of field you've got, because I think Bilal fancied that as he takes his score on to 8 off 6 balls.
That's a good strike actually.
So as we're coming towards the end of this massive clash between India and Pakistan, we've got another game on pitch 2 here, which has been an extremely high scoring game. I'm going to go across to Wayne Grieve, who's just going to fill us in on some of the details, because it's been extremely exciting. So I'm going to pass you over to Wayne.
That's at pitch 2 here. Very good game between New Zealand and UAE. New Zealand, huge score of 216. Nigel Collins 90 not out of 29 balls. Outstanding innings. He's going to be a player to watch out for in this tournament. In reply, UAE started slowly. They only had 20 of their first 4 overs. They're now up to 160 in the 17th over. So they've got themselves back into it, but there's going to be a lot of big hitting needed from the UAE boys to get home. But they're also got to be aware of the bonus points. You've got to get within 80% of the opposition score to pick up the 2 losing bonus points. So that's going to be an important part of the group stage, is being aware of the bonus point situation as well. Back to Lee on pitch 1.
Thanks, Wayne. Sounds exciting in that Masters tournament. You're looking forward to getting involved in that later in the week?
Certainly, it's first game against you, I think so, Lee, on Tuesday.
Yeah, looking forward to getting out there and playing some cricket. And it looks like a high-scoring pitch on the pitch 2. I think the par scores will be a fraction higher on pitch 2, just because of the size of the boundaries. But change of bowling here. As a left-hander myself, that is a shot that I really enjoy watching. He's just opened that front leg fractionally. His hands have come through and carved the ball beautifully through extra for a 1 bounce 4.
Watching and playing both, I think so.
Another good shot here out to fine leg. They've got to go for 2 shortly, and they have. They've come back. They were encouraged by their teammates there to definitely take the second
one. Budhiraj is bowling too short actually. That's why it's going everywhere.
So just to reiterate now, obviously these 2 players are doing their absolute best to get Pakistan up to 190, 195. Obviously earlier on when it was raining 6s with Razzaq and then Assad, they were looking up and we were talking about 200, 220 maybe. These guys are obviously very aware that Razzaq is the next man in, and Pakistan are running frantically to get as many runs as possible. But you know, they know that they've got two monster hitters in the shed here. Will India be happy with singles and not seeing those guys? It's a tough situation because you always want to take a wicket.
I'm sure India doesn't want Razzaq to come back and bat again. That's for sure.
That's a lovely shot down the ground. It's very quick down here. The fielder's running round. Fantastic piece of fielding there. Both guys moved awfully quickly.
That's a good running.
Just
taken 3 runs for that.
Just a little insight there from the Indian keeper. He didn't seem to throw that with any great venom. I think that maybe go into what you were saying about knowing that you've got Razzaq and Assad waiting to come in next. A little bit of tactics there.
I'm sure they're thinking the same way as well.
So we're coming into the last over here. Bilal on 16 off 8, Shabazz 8 off 5.
I'm sure they're playing around 200. That's the target at the minute.
It's always nice mentally to see 200 in any short format game. And this is a massive ask for Praveen. He's been a little bit expensive in his first 3 overs. Obviously he had to bowl in the power play as well. And obviously you have the home run opportunity, the opportunity to hit a 12.
That's true, yeah. The last ball.
And
it's a good start from Praveen. Slower ball this time.
I definitely think it'll be the first time that there would have been a 12 scored at Chester Boughton Hall. Doesn't matter. I know we've got some fine players here, the likes of Warren Goodwin and Rick Moore, who've played a lot of cricket for Cheshire, but I know that they've certainly not hit a 12.
Sure, if they get a chance, they're allowed to hit it.
Warren Goodwin, one of 2 players who've hit it over the flats here.
That's a good ball. Now
So
it's Razzaq back again.
So they had absolutely no interest in running out the guy at the striker's end, but they were happy to take the guy at what ended up being the non-striker's end. But that was a nice little cameo there by Bilal Afzal. 17 off 10, and that brings back marquee player Abdul Razzaq for the final 2 balls. So I think what would the tactics be here? Would Shabazz look for a single here and give Razzaq the chance to go for the 12?
Certainly he'll go for that. A single or a bye. He'll run for everything.
So Praveen comes in again.
As expected.
Razzaq, after that long sit down after his blistering start, maybe slightly stiff as he bends over and stretches out the back.
The knee.
2 left in this final over. I'll be very, very surprised if we see Razzaq
at 12.
Yeah, at the non-striker's end for this final ball. I think these are going to be 2 massive attempts for 6s. Oh, I don't think the non-striker realised that he had a very, very little interest in running whatever. But this is the chance for a 12 now.
Good bowling by Praveen last over. It's a brilliant over.
It is a fantastic over from Praveen. He came back beautifully here in that final over. And there it is, the first ever 12 here at Chester Boughton Hall.
That's been caught by the pavilion.
It's a crowd catch here at Chester. That looks like Joe Caloran, a local resident there, an international table tennis player, has took the catch. He was also swimming in the local canal where there's been a few 6s lately, just the other day. So that was a fantastic end, and what an innings by Abdul Razzaq. 67 off 26 balls, a strike rate of 256, and that brings the end to the Indian innings.
That's brilliant. I got 200, so India has to start brilliantly here.
Yeah, I can see from your face as a India fan sat here with the full strip on here that you were gritted teeth enjoying that 12 there. So the Indian players just gather in the middle of the Chester Boughton Hall Square. I'm not sure how happy they are with that score to chase. What are your thoughts?
Initially they thought 180, so they were 200. Not pretty happy. They have to bat carefully, 20 overs, stay there and finish the game off.
So just looking at the batting card here, obviously we spoke about Razzaq, 67 off 26 balls. Batty played a really important part in that opening partnership of 70 runs with Razzaq just moving the ball around beautifully. Ahmed came in with a blistering 19 off 9, and then you looked at Asad, who came in with 50 off 26. He probably should have been out for 50.
49.
Yeah, dropped by Captain Kohli after doing all the hard work for getting there. But look, 201 for 5, and an exciting second half here. You know, there's a real festive feel outside the clubhouse. You can see that the Pakistani players are extremely happy with their score, and I'm intrigued to know whether India have got enough batting to chase that down.
India got a long batting order, so they should be pretty happy with the score as well. They should start brilliantly.
So I'm sure all the people watching over in India and Pakistan will be back for the second half here.
You can see already on Facebook there are around 4K people watching it, so
really,
that's good.
Well, you know, it's certainly exciting stuff. It's fantastic.
This is one game I was watching all the matches live from this morning. I saw Singapore game. There was 145 views. It started with and finished with 600. And Australia, Sri Lanka 900. And this game it started with 4,000 people already. So I'm not sure how many are watching it right now.
Well, that's fantastic to have that many people tuning in and being here as a Chester Boughton Hall member. It's fantastic for us to be able to be all over the world, and I know that all our members are very excited. There's quite a few of them down here watching already.
I love this ground. Both my girls get trained here, so, and I know Lee from last 6 years. So,
well, look, and I know that a lot of young players and people from all over Chester and the Northwest are going to be coming down throughout the week to take in this last man standing event. But what we're going to do is we're just going to have a small break until the second half. Massive thank you.
Thanks, Lee. Thank
you.
you.
I'm sure I'll see you later in the week.
Cheers, certainly.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome back for the second innings. Pakistan put on mammoth 201 on the board.
So we could not have better conditions today here for this LMS World Cup here at Chester, as the Indian batters take the middle. The Pakistan side must be absolutely delighted with that score of 201. Star was Abdul Razzaq with 67, and our first ever 12 here at Chester. Obviously that's a LMS rule where if you hit the last ball you get double, so he got the maximum 12. But India are going to be looking to get off to a very, very quick start here in the power play. I'm joined by LMS founder Wayne Grieve. Welcome back, Wayne.
Good afternoon, Lee. It's been an outstanding day of cricket so far, and we're only halfway through it. This is the third game, and we're going into the second innings. There's still 2 more games to come after that. The great Shiv Chanderpaul is playing in the next game for the USA side against a strong South Africa side. The USA side is very good themselves, so that's going to prove to be one of the highlights of the day, watching Shiv making his LMS debut. For India, we've got Kohli at the crease. He's the cousin of Virat Kohli, and he's joined by Ganesh. They got to go hard in this first 10. They head into the shorter boundary straight, and they're chasing a mammoth 200, and they've also got to try and overcome 4 overs of Abdul Razzaq.
So it's Batty who's going to take the new ball here. They've gone pace off early on. Straight away out towards Razzaq at the long on boundary. It definitely looked a really good time to bat early on, didn't it, Wayne, with the ball nice and hard. So it'll be interesting to see how India approach this. Pakistan gone pace off straight away with the new ball.
It's drifting down leg, first wide of the innings.
I must admit, I do enjoy this tactic, Wayne, early on, of maybe getting a quick over out of a spinner. With the hard new ball, it's skidding on.
Yeah, but you get the natural variation. Just at the deck, the odd one's going to keep low, the one might turn. This is the third game that's been played on this wicket, so naturally it's going to break up.
Well, I know the groundsman here works extremely hard on the wickets, and he'll be out there as the days go on, ensuring that the batsman can still enjoy playing as much free-flowing cricket as possible.
Yeah, we're very lucky here in this tournament. Superb facilities at Chester Boughton Hall Cricket Club. For those of you who don't know, this tournament's been played at Chester Boughton Hall. All 30 group games are staged at this prestigious club. There's 2 pitches here, 23 of the games on the main pitch and 7 of the group games on the back pitch. All the games on the main field are live streamed.
So India have just eased into this innings here. I think it's quite a clever move using Batty this early, making India force the game straight away here. So there's no pace to work with. So they're going to have to take all the risk in this first over.
Stabbed away down to third man. They've got to run the first one hard.
Oh.
Good left boot.
Underused fielding technique, I find sometimes, the boot. It seems to have come out the modern game.
I think the older you get, the more regular it gets used.
I'm a big fan of putting the old foot out. That doesn't make you a bad person.
The hamstrings get tighter as you get older, and something you never could understood as a 20-year-old. Why has he just done that? But when you get to my age, you start understanding how it happens. And Razzaq on the boundary is agreeing with us.
I'm expecting to see Mr. Razzaq, maybe wait for the wind in the second 10 overs. Maybe come down the hill.
Okay, Abdul's called for the physio. If we've got any physios in the area, £10 an hour. We'll put it on the LMS Pakistan debit card.
That's a fantastic start, that. And that's Shahbaz Khan. I know Pakistan have got a very fine tradition of coming up with fantastic left-arm seamers. I know one of the best T20 bowlers for a long time in this country was Lancashire's overseas player Junaid Khan. And that's a fantastic bit of bowling.
Kohli has got an edge. He's hit the ground. He's not happy with the decision, but he's got to go.
That was a fantastic catch from the keeper low to his right-hand side there. I can see why the batter potentially thinks that maybe he's hit it into the floor, but I think that the replays will show that this is a good decision from the umpire. I'm going to stick my neck out, Wayne.
I'll wait and see.
Not like you to sit on the fence, Wayne. No.
Oh, he's hit the cover off it.
Feeling very, very confident with my my decision to call that, and I think the batter's going to watch that later on after that slow walk off, and maybe offer the umpire a pint after the game or a cold drink.
It's always great for umpires to have the cameras when they get it right, because if that was a regular game of LMS played in Gurgaon, we probably would have had an email coming in complaining about the umpire decisions, but I'm sure when Rahul looks at that decision, you can have no complaints. I think, to be fair to him, when you hit the ground, you don't often know you hit the ball. So I don't think it was any unfair play. It's just a case of him not feeling the ball hitting the bat there.
Yep. Part of the beauty of this World Championship is this live feed, but it's also for some of the players it can be quite daunting as well. You know, as a batsman, you could come off there and tell everyone you're not out and you get away with that one, but a lot of people are going to watch that back and maybe explain to him that he's just smashed the cover off one.
Yeah. So that two left-arm bowlers, yeah, one taking the pace off it, and one of them a little bit quicker, obviously coming off the long run, but both of them are finding the area, something that the Indians didn't do when they started.
I've been really impressed so far with this Pakistan side. Very much enjoying Shahbaz Khan here.
Hold him.
On cue. I'll be saying thank you to Shahbaz later. He just bowled a sumptuous in-swinging Yorker there, and that was just far too good for Kanishk.
Oh God, he's got first bowler.
Just watching the replay back here, and that has just swung in. It looked like it was in the arc, but just did too much. Very, very popular all around the world, going with a opening bowler of left arm swing. I know England do very well with David Willey. Not necessarily the quickest bowlers, but you know, any sort of movement there. And that was a fantastic dismissal, and 8 for 2, and India are in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, they've got scoreboard pressure. The last thing they needed, chasing a score with 200, is to lose 2 wickets inside the first 2 overs. They're on the back foot, yeah, and they're going to need something special. They're going to need someone to make a name for themselves, yeah.
I think Pakistan would be really hopeful if they can maybe get away with not overusing Abdul Razzaq. He's just been stretching quite ferociously in front of us here. I think he's really stiffening up after that earlier innings.
He has been calling for the physio.
And he's had the 9th man on there, just doing some work on his back there. So Praveen, who bowled an extremely good last over until that 12, has been sent out to bat. And this has been super impressive from Shahbaz Khan.
Just the start the captain wanted, yeah. And not the start the Indian captain wanted.
So final ball of Shahbaz Khan's over, and he comes. That's going to be a lot closer than you think, that, Wayne. Probably just shaping down the leg side. A little press forward from Praveen there. Head just fell over. Just underneath the knee roll, but I think that's just going to be missing the leg stump, and that takes us to the end of the second over. LMS India are 8 for 2.
Yeah, they need someone to make a play. It's one of those things you don't even really have time to work the ball around. You just need someone to. Well, I think they've got to discuss it. One of them's going to have to go hard, and the other one's maybe going to have to try and work the ones and twos. But they don't have time to play themselves in yet. They need to go from the outset.
Would this be maybe a situation where you look at maybe one of the lower order players who, you know, maybe comes out and throws caution to the wind a little bit at this point?
Yeah, I don't know too much about the Indian batting lineup, so don't know what they've got in terms of firepower. It's just an interesting change up here from Pakistan. They're showing good game awareness. They brought up the deep backward point. They've got now a short point, which you don't often see in LMS. Most of the field is scattered to the boundary, but they've sensed they smell blood, yeah.
I think this is a really fantastic line that Batty's bowling here. He's making the batter make all the game, really, create all the risk. Just going into the stumps there, knowing that he'd have to play across the line into the leg side really to get any value for the shot. And that's another single. But as you said, Wayne, something needs to change and fast here for the Indian side, because the run rate is just rising all the time.
Yeah, it's the intensity levels. They're just behind a few teams on intensity levels, yeah.
But they, you know, whereas maybe some of the teams so far today, there's been a few first game nerves. The Pakistani side have just settled into the work beautifully here, and this is a fantastic start.
It's just dabbed out into the offside, just the one. The important thing to mention to the viewers that are just tuning in from Australia, Pakistan, and other parts of the world is LMS is very new in India. It's been going for a long time, or a lot longer in Pakistan. So experience is a big factor. Pakistan have had more players to select from. We've only just started India. There's only a few leagues, so obviously the talent pool is slightly less. Hard to think with a nation of 1 billion people, but the players have to come from the local leagues. So I think as this tournament goes on, you're going to see India improve. They're going to learn from this. I think they struggled. They played a keeper who's not necessarily their first choice keeper. They went for the batting keeper. And I think they're going to have to reassess that for the next match. But you never know. It just takes one guy to come off here. That's going to be no ball. Could that get them going yet? It's going to be a free hit.
Well, but actually here he has the opportunity to really open the shoulders here.
Where would you be going, Ali? Free hit?
Personally, I'd be setting myself, getting that front leg out the way, and I'd be looking to go straight down towards our commentary position here.
He's done that. He's done that. Hit it straight down to the fielder. They got the fielders in the right place here, Pakistan.
Big thank you to local resident Phil Thomas here, who's just brought over a selection of cakes and hot drinks. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. Good for morale.
There's even a pink one to match the pink ball.
Yeah. We should definitely looking to push 2 here. That's a strong shot out into the leg side there. And that way in one frame shows the difference there so far in this match.
That would have been 4 earlier in the day. I think I say we don't want to be too harsh on the Indian guys, but also got to be honest. There's no point us saying they fielded well, they didn't. So they're going to have to look at it themselves and say that they could be making some improvements for the next game.
I just think Pakistan at the moment look like a team that are going to cause a lot.
That's a great shot.
A lot of teams, a lot of problems.
So very well played there by Praveen.
It's definitely a situation for India where they just need to find a way of getting themselves going here, and whether it's that shot from Praveen or whether it's Akshik, you know, really kicking on and playing some bigger shots, something's got to give really. But the Pakistan side, obviously Sri Lanka were very impressive earlier in the day.
Yeah, they were very impressive. The New Zealand side very impressive on the back pitch there. Raining sixes there. Good change up, well adjusted by Praveen.
And obviously we're keeping our eye out for player of the day here. There's been some fantastic individual performances as the day's gone on. In the Singapore-Wales game, the captain of Singapore, Manpreet Singh, was absolutely outstanding with wickets and runs.
The player of the day so far, in my view, is probably the third or fourth ball of the whole match. Great catch on the boundary. Juggled it just inside the ropes. Had 2 or 3 attempts at it, but made sure he didn't stand over the ropes with the ball in his hand, and eventually tossed it up and caught it cleanly.
Well, I saw that catch on the LMS Twitter page, which has been retweeted quite a few times. If you want to catch that catch, just check on the LMS Twitter, give us a follow, and don't miss a single moment of this World Cup tournament this week.
Gone straight, almost caught by his non-striker there. He's put that one down.
I feel for the batter there, because he just needed something to get himself going there, and arguably that probably would have been 4.
Yeah, they need to have a bit of luck, but you make your own luck. I think just need to have a bit of belief here.
They very much fancy that appeal there. I think that's going down the leg side. I think that's a good decision from the umpire at this end. Batty's been excellent though so far.
Yeah, that ball, I think, didn't. If it turned, it might have been out. This thing went straight on. That's a great shot. Really good shot here by Asket.
We spoke about this a couple of times today, Wayne, the fact that some of the batters may be just over-forcing it, and there's an example there of just someone who's just lent on the ball and got full value for his shot there.
Yeah, it's always difficult when you're going needing 10 and over, but you want to be positive, but you still want to keep your shape, especially on a wicket that's starting to hold up a little bit at times. That's well bowled, really well bowled. This Pakistan outfit are looking like one of the teams to watch out for. Yeah, impressive start. And the next game is going to be an interesting one. You're going to see South Africa taking on USA. South Africa already doing their warm-ups on the back pitch. One of the better fielding teams in the tournament. So for those teams that are playing last man stands and want to see some of the fielding tactics and the standards of fielding that are required to make to this level, you could have a good look as we watch Abdul Razzaq. Don't know how you'd explain that, Lee. Could you explain what's going on there?
I'd probably say he's being stood on by the 9th man to try and loosen up some of the muscles there. Obviously worked very hard in that first innings, so he's obviously trying to get himself in the best possible shape to have a bowl.
Pushed away by Praveen. Not running the first one hard. So the new bowler here, Mohammed. Pravin looks technically correct. Good technique. Run rate required just under 12 now. They can't let it get much further than that. Pushed away, got around the first one hard. Intensity levels here, actually not interested in 2 there. Running between the wickets. Important parts of all forms of the game, and LMS is very important, you know. 5 balls in and over. Get an extra few 2s, so it can be the difference between winning and losing. No, he's been bowled. Paid for not running the first one hard. There's definitely 2 on there.
Mohammed Ahmed there with this distinctive red hat there. He has just ran through. Akshif from India, 9 off 12 balls, just didn't get going there, Wayne.
Yeah, the new batsman coming in, he's got a bit of ability. He's from the Gurgaon League. I think this is Vibha. Just confirm it in a second.
It's just the keeper batsman.
I'll confirm in a second, but a lot of these players are from LMS Gurgaon. That's where the first league started. And they've got probably more experience than some other parts of LMS in India. But they're still relatively new to the format, as I was saying earlier, so they're going to have to watch what other teams do, and they just feel the main thing they're going to learn from is the running between the wicket and the fielding is a huge, crucial part of this game.
The beauty of this tournament, with it being a round robin though, Wayne, you know, they're going to have the opportunity to rectify some mistakes in later games, and you know, and I think that's going to be a key part, you know, teams learning from other sides.
For sure. There's a few appeals there. But we'll have a look. So far the umpire's got most right here. We don't have any commentator yet today, so we're not going to be able to conclusively say whether that was out or not, but they were convinced.
If anyone on Facebook Live's watching that and can maybe rewind it, if you could give us your opinion, that'd be fantastic. Whether you thought that the umpire got that spot on, or maybe there was a little feather through to the keeper. They're very, very difficult to give though, Wayne.
Yeah, he's been consistent the whole game. If he's not sure, he hasn't been giving it out, and that's all you can ask for. You know.
Praveen 12 from 12 here. And he's just deflected that down to the vacant 3rd man area for 4.
So Praveen needs someone to go with him here. We know Vibha is a good player. He scored a lot of runs in the Gurgaon League. Experienced player as far as LMS India goes. So he's one of the more experienced players in this team. And they'll be looking to him to get at 50 or 25 balls to give them half a chance here.
Bass comes in again. Just forced down the ground.
Again, not pushing the first one hard.
So what did India do here, Wayne? Did they go all out to try and get to this total, or did they even look at, you know, what the losing bonus points are here to ensure that, you know, they don't leave empty-handed?
Just a breakaway. The England team's just disrupted play, walking in front of the side screen. Yeah, I think the bonus points at 160. So in LMS, in the group stage or in a league format, if you're chasing and you can't win the game, you have to get within 80% of the score. So 160 will get them the losing bonus points. But even that's looking a long way from here. So I think the most important thing is they just got to up the intensity. They've got to make things happen. You know, small things like, as you know, Lee, body language, running between the wickets hard. Important. They're just not showing that enough compared to some of the other teams.
Well, the required run rate's just shot up to 12 and over. 166 needed off 65. So something's got to give, and it's got to be now. Pakistan have managed to go without having to use Abdul Razzaq. I think the captain will be desperate, maybe not to use as many of his overs.
It's a good point. He might even just hold him back for late in the tournament. Obviously, Razzaq is no longer a spring chicken, so they might want to wrap him up in cotton wool.
Just a quick look at the early bowling figures here. That opening burst from Shahbaz Khan was really, really impressive. Two for 11 off his 2 overs, including a very impressive in-swinging Yorker. Like I said earlier, Pakistan just seemed to reel off left-arm seamers for fun, and he's no different, and he's caused the Indians all sorts of problems.
Played square the wicket. Easy to. Oh,
it's an amazing pick up that.
Yeah.
Wrong hand as well.
See, a lot of the other teams would have been running too there, Leo. I know, sorry to repeat myself here, but that's the biggest thing. You can make your own luck just by pushing there. Maybe get the odd misfield that could have got before if the field is under pressure. Push in the offside. No run.
I really do think this Indian side will come on a lot just for this game, Wayne.
Yeah.
You know, and it's almost a pity that that this fixtures came around this early for them, because I know it obviously means an awful lot, but to have this sort of derby on the first day of the World Cup as well is just fantastic. I'm sure many people in both countries have enjoyed taking this game in.
Yeah, I think obviously India. Oh, that's played away for 4. So Pravin showing a bit of fight check. Good from Pravin. Obviously India will be disappointed with where the game is at the moment. One would think it's going to take some heroics from someone to get them with even half a chance, but they just got to keep playing right till the end. As I said earlier, 160 has got to be their target from here. The 160 will secure them the losing bonus points, and in a group stage where the top 3 in the group of 6 go to the knockout stages, it's important to keep yourself within a chance early in the format. So just going to leave the commentary box for 2 minutes. Nick Compton on his way to the nets to warm up with the England side. Just want to get Nick's quick assessment on this game.
Well, no, good to hear from everyone, and nice to be back on the comms. Yeah, what a game we've got here. Pakistan, India, the big one for today, but it looks like it's going to be pretty damn hard work here for India to get back into this game. Pakistan just awesome. Had a little chat with Razzaq in the sheds about 5 minutes ago, and he seems pretty chuffed that he's hitting it well. He hasn't played for 3 years. Can you believe it?
He was absolutely superb before, Nick. He really did make a massive difference, and you know, Pakistan showed a lot of experience in the LMS format as well, just to show, you know, where obviously the 12 off the last ball, but also their players lower down the order being very aware that they had a couple of guys retired and throwing caution to the wind as well. What I'd be very intrigued to know your thoughts on this Pakistan outfit as a whole, though, and whether you see they could be involved at the latter stages of this tournament.
Yeah, I said it when I arrived here. I said one of the Asian teams will be right up there. Pakistan, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka look really impressive, but there's no doubt that Pakistan, for me, are the outstanding unit. In the field, they look pretty quick. They've got a lot of variation, and my word, when you can clear the ropes like they did earlier, it looks pretty ominous. And nice to see Razzaq back there. I played cricket with him back in my younger days at Middlesex, just as a young nipper. He came over as an overseas player, and he's a pretty special talent. You know, even back then, I mean, he kind of bowled, he batted, he's kind of one of those guys that could change a game in an instant. And a lovely guy too, so great to catch up with some old teammates.
Well, it was he was just down in front of the commentary position with me and Wayne then, and even in just those few moments, very endearing character. And you know, for some of these Pakistan players that have come over to represent the country in this World Cup, it must just be fantastic to be with someone who's been such a hero of their nation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, you look at some of the guys that are here. Chanderpaul, you've got, you know, James Franklin coming from New Zealand. You've got Marcus North, who's having a few beers with the Aussie guys there. I mean, it's kind of where we came from. You forget that quickly. You do get caught up in the professional world and things become quite focused and quite serious. But when it all washes back a little bit, these club grounds are places where I certainly started my cricket, where I learnt the game. Dad used to play, and I think to just come back and be a regular guy, mixing it with cricket people that all love the same thing in cricket.
Well, I know from seeing a few pictures on one of the club WhatsApp groups last night, you took in a little bit of a practice with some of our juniors from the club. You and Marcus North playing a bit of one-on-one bounce last night. Do you still feel like you can cut it at that level as well?
I'm just hoping that's not the highlight of my batting this week, but it might very well be. I sort of struck it pretty well, actually. I mean, one-on-one bounce, it felt like yesterday. I mean, that's how I learnt my cricket. So yeah, great to mix it with the youngsters. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's what club cricket's about. I mean, we forget that the strength of our test team and the strength of our nations is behind the foundations of a strong club system. You look at Australia for so many years. They were underpinned by an incredibly strong grade team, grade system, and that's what underpinned a lot of Australia's cricket, a lot of South Africa's cricket. So it's strong club systems, and the culture of these club systems is so vital.
Well, obviously the pyramid that the ECB have put in place at the moment, going from grassroots up to the ECB Premier Leagues, then into minor counties, and then into the county circuit itself, it does lend to a very exciting national side, which we, certainly in one-day cricket at the moment that we've got, and test cricket. Personally, up to even this last couple of days, has probably been in the doldrums just a little bit, where people are seeing how exciting the one-day team is. I feel very sorry for the test team, because I don't think they've been doing lots and lots wrong, but I think the one-day team has been so outstanding, it's made it tough for them to maybe follow suit. But what a fantastic game that was, England-India.
Yeah, I think with the one-day side, they have been together for a while now, and it's like any team. You look at Australia now; they're rebuilding. They've gone through a bit of a lull. There's no doubt that they're in a place now where they're going to rebuild, and as Marcus said last night, there's absolutely no doubt that Australia will be a force to reckon with in the next year or two. I would say Justin Langer behind it. You look at the England team. Obviously, the one-day side, they have been together for a while, so they weren't always like that. It was 3 years ago where they were pretty ordinary, if we're being very honest. And you look now at the England Test team. It's been one or two odd selections, I have to say, and I think Trevor Bayliss, probably by his own admission, is more of a one-day specialist. He's definitely had more success in the T20 one-day arena, and I just like to see England set up as a bit more of a solid outfit. I still look at the batting lineup, and I think. I'd love to see Joe Root coming in at number 4, with potentially Bairstow, Stokes at 5 and 6. That means you've got to find a number 3. But I would rather have 3 opening type batsmen in the top 3, particularly when you're playing the majority of your cricket in England. I think it's so important to have a more solid top order, and that's where I think India made a mistake by not picking Pujara. I thought that was a big mistake.
I'll be honest with you, I was astounded that they didn't pick Pujara. He obviously
apparently his face doesn't fit, and I there's no doubt. I know him a little bit. He's a quiet, kind of reserved introvert, and I just probably doesn't really sort of prescribe to the Kohli mould, which is dangerous, because we're all different. The job that Pujara does is a solid one. Is one that he fights hard for the team, and sometimes those personal attributes run in line with the job that he does, and so one should sort of support that.
Do you not think that obviously he had some great experience at Yorkshire, and we saw in the Sky series there that Yorkshire obviously opened the doors and gave us a bit of an insight into what was going on there. I thought Pujara came across really well, but also in the games in India where it has turgid moments of Test cricket where it's very, very hard. It's technical. You have to grind out sessions, and he's done exceptionally well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I think coming back to this game, if we try and make it a little bit more about the times here, but no, I absolutely agree. I think what we're seeing here, particularly in these amateur tournaments, this LMS tournament, India kind of making their way slowly to 63 now of 9 overs. So you know, I can't see them winning this game. I think the pace off the ball from the Pakistanis here is doing the job. I think the way to go here is to kind of almost take pace off and get a big score, take some pace off, and say, come on, man, you go out and force the pace.
Well, from what I saw from the South Africans in the warm-up game the other day, South Africa are going to come at it slightly differently, and we'll be seeing them later on. They're going to go pace on, and I think, you know, just as we're talking about that looks like a wicket for Assad. He's got
bowled him. He's bowled him. Assad getting through the defences there of Praveen, who looked like he didn't know what was coming. He missed the last 3 before that, and this one literally hasn't turned. He's played for a bit of spin, but it's gone straight on with the arm. And as I keep saying to everyone, when you're facing a left-arm spinner, not many of them turn it.
Definitely a man after your own heart there, Nick. Don't genuinely believe left-arm spinners can spin the ball, and if it does, it probably is the wicket. But no, just going on to your game later in the day. Do you want to tell me how the England camp are faring?
Well, they're in the net to my left there. They're waiting for
you.
Their pro to come and give them a bit of coaching. I think it might be the other way around though. So I'm eagerly anticipating. I've heard a lot about the boys. They talked it up a bit. They've spoken about, you know, how well and how good they are and what they've done here and there. So I said, look, I'm looking forward to being shown a few lessons. But no, I just want to hopefully contribute, have a bit of fun. You know, always nice if you can get over the line, win a few games, and you know, hopefully Scotland won't be too much of a challenge later on. However, if we go about what happened earlier on this summer with Scotland giving England an absolute thrashing, you know, I wouldn't want to speak too soon.
Well, as William Wallace said, Scotland will hopefully play with some freedom, and hopefully you boys don't get caught up in that. Nick, it's been a pleasure just to grab you for a few minutes there. I'm going to let you go down to the nets. And,
thanks, mate. Yeah, give me a bit of a chance. I haven't hit balls for a while, and I really do need this net practice, I think.
Well, best of luck later on. So with Praveen out on 37 off 26, that leaves Singh and Anurag to try and get this Indian side closest to this total of 201. As Wayne mentioned earlier on, if they can get to 160 here, they'll get losing bonus points, which will obviously help them a lot in the group stage later on. 14 and over, it's an awfully big ask, but certainly possible, as they brought Shahbaz Khan back into the attack at the Ron Fleet end. And that is his 3rd wicket of the day. The batsman doesn't seem overly charmed, but it looks like the ball's just straight in there. But the batter's got to go.
This could be the longest stroll off in the history of the game.
I think the batsman believed that may be pitched outside leg. Just watching the replay again, it looked awfully close to that leg stump. It's marginal call.
We need that red line down the middle of the pitch. Maybe we'll bring that in for the next World Series.
Well, I think our groundsman wouldn't be overly charmed if we put a red line through the middle of this wicket.
I'm referring to the graphics there, Lee.
Never easy to get a first bowler. But Dwidge, who bowled, to be fair, out of all the Indian bowlers, I thought he was by far the pick out, and he fielded well as well.
Well, this kid's got a lot of fight. You'll see him pushing hard between the wickets. His intensity levels were above the rest of his players, and I think after the game, a few of them just need to get together and say, listen, we've been outplayed here, but can we try and improve our intensity in the running between the wickets and in the field? So Dwidge, he's a competitive character. One of the younger guys in the team, still a teenager.
What I've enjoyed about Shahbaz Khan here, he's genuinely trying to take wickets here. Every ball he's running up, he's attacking the stumps. He's shown really strong wrist position. And you can always tell that in a left-arm seamer. As soon as you see the ball starting to swing back in, means that they're presenting the seam correctly there. Little delay here is Dwidge isn't very happy with the equipment he's brought out, which moves me on beautifully to equipment. And don't forget to have a little look at the Last Man Stands online shop. So it's shop.lastmanstands.com. You can jump in there, Wayne. I know that's a website that you're very keen on a few hits on.
Just it's one of the entry points into Last Man Stands. It's all about coloured clothing and fun, and obviously every team is able to go onto the shop website and personalise their team logo. They're able to put their player names on the back. They're able to put their sponsors logo on the back, should they have one. So bus continues, just straight unlegged. Lee, I'm going to be leaving you shortly. The great Marcus North is going to be taking over from me in the commentary box and seeing the end of this game through with you. Obviously, I'll be a little disappointed in their loss earlier, but be good to get Marcus's insight into the final few overs of this game.
Again, fabulous bowling by Shabazz Khan. As I welcome Marcus North into our commentary position here. Welcome, Marcus.
Thanks, mate. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
She's all right. She's a good day today. How are you feeling after the game before?
Oh, a bit disappointed, to be honest.
We watched your particular dismissal back. We thought we didn't actually know why it wasn't a wide, and then realised it hit the stumps.
I wish it was a wide, mate. I thought I had it covered. I thought if I missed it, it was going to hit my pad, but unfortunately, I just misjudged it a little bit and clipped the leg stump.
But up to that point, you managed to get a few away, timed a few nicely. I know you've had a little break from cricket.
I have, mate. I have. It's the first hit since September, but no, nice. I mean, it's a great facility. It's a great club, and yeah, as you well know, it's a good place to bat, and the ball is coming on quite nicely.
Yeah, it is a fabulous place to bat, and that's also a reason why I gave up bowling since I've played here, because it is a bowler's graveyard. But I'm sure towards the end of the week, some of the slower bowlers, some of the spin bowlers like yourself, are going to enjoy a little bit of purchase. I think the groundsman, Keggy, is going to be doing his best to keep the wickets as flat and batter friendly as long as he can. But I think it's going to be really interesting towards the end of the week with the pace coming off the ball.
Yeah, I don't think it's a great summer for the groundsman. It's been difficult, hasn't it? It's posed its difficulties trying to keep the water in the pitches. I think all across the country, even at first class level, we've seen a lot drier conditions because of the fantastic summer we've had. And but still, today has been a fantastic wicket.
So just watching this game between Pakistan and India, did you see Pakistan causing some problems late in the tournament?
Yeah, I've been really impressed. I mean, obviously they're professional. Abdul Razzaq's a class international player, and gee, these guys just look well organised, you know. And you know, what did he get his 50 off? I'm not too sure, but it wouldn't have been too many balls. But they look organised.
Well, what they did really well, to be fair, obviously Razzaq was a class act in that innings, and he played his role brilliantly, but his colleague opening the batting there just was prepared to sit in and rotate the strike. And sometimes when you get a guy who's obviously a strong hitter and maybe a little bit of a class above, you want to kind of compete with that person. But I was really impressed with Batty, how he just rolled it round and let Razzaq take the lead, and then he was happy to pick it up after he went. So, you know, I think they look super organised, and obviously the Sri Lankans before seem a decent outfit. I think they adapted just a little bit better than some of your guys, but there was some really exciting performances from one or two of the Australians as well. I think that the young lad Jake O'Connell, as a 17-year-old from Queensland, you know, I'll certainly be trying to get our captain Will Owen to maybe just have a little conversation with him, make sure he doesn't end up at South North.
That'd be a good overseas, wouldn't he?
As the ball goes high into the air here, and a 6.
Well, that's very welcome. 6 for India. I mean, a 68 for 5. Well, that's what's 74 for 5 now. It's been a bit of a struggle, but yeah, you're right. I mean, like I said, we're a bit disappointed with how we played against Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka are an organised team, they're a good team, and I think with the conditions that present, I think the Asian sides will perform quite well, take a bit of spin, taking a bit of pace off, bowling their cutters. Well, that was a good effort. I mean, he was trying to get that catch there. I mean, the reality is that they're trying to finish the game off here, aren't they? But I tell you what, this whole concept, this last man stands, it's from a guy that's used to traditional formats, it's intense. You know, only 3 fielders on each side, plus the bowler and keeper, so 8 aside. It's pretty mad. It's not what I'm used to, but I certainly enjoyed it.
It's very much stick or twist, and I do think the captains have an awful, it's easy to just set the 3-3 field and just hope that the bowlers, don't get hit into the gaps. But, it's been nice to see a couple of the captains maybe just, use the power plays, go to 4-2 fields. Also, maybe even bringing a fielder in, saving one. There's nothing worse, even in 11-a-side cricket, where you go into that situation where you're basically bowling for a single. I think in any form of cricket, dot balls are key, and it's been really interesting to see how some of these teams have played the same game but differently.
Yeah, I think it's, like I said, it's a unique kind of concept. It's fantastic, but you're right. There's still room for captains to be a little bit creative. I mean, like I said, they've only got 6 fielders really, and that's pretty difficult. And a ground like this was just traditionally probably quite big for LMS standards, so there's a lot of gaps, a lot of holes to go. So I think we've seen a lot of captains pretty much stick to the traditional 3 and offside and 3 on leg side. But I think you're right. I think there's moments in a game which you can kind of mix it up a little bit and try and put a bit more pressure back on the batsman.
That was one thing that I definitely picked up from the Sri Lankans in your game, that they definitely moved the Australian field around a lot more, picked up a lot more twos, and obviously maybe you dragged it back so brilliantly in those kind of overs between 10 and 17, and then all of a sudden they finished really strong and maybe left you needing probably 10, 15 more than you probably wanted to.
Yeah, I think from an Australian point of view, we probably let ourselves down a little bit in the field. Probably gave them 15 to maybe 20 runs with a couple of missed fields, a couple of drop catches, and I think it just exposes how important it is to, when you've only got the 6 fielders out, how important it is to be really good, really sharp in the field. And we know, watching traditional T20 format, that teams that field well and can save runs, if that's a better way of saying it, it normally has a result on, or has an effect on the end result. And I think more so you get exposed in this format, and an extra 20 runs we're chasing, was, at the end of the day, was probably the difference.
Just back to this game quickly, just having a little look at some of the bowling figures here. Standout performer, I've mentioned him a couple of times, Shabazz Khan, obviously swinging the ball beautifully as a left arm over, only going at 4 runs and over with his 3-for. But some of the other bowlers later on, Assad, following up from a 50 in the first innings, probably putting his hand up for potential man of the match performance. And obviously the LMS shop are putting up some prizes for player of the day. There's been some really, really good performances across all the games, and from Singapore and Wales this morning, Manpreet Singh, the captain, took a catch that could have a real chance of being catch of the tournament, where he juggled it. It's on our Twitter page at the moment, so make sure you have a little nose at that. But I think there's going to be some really exciting cricket played. Just going obviously back, staying with this game, Vahab here has done really well. He's 27 off 19, and I just think India have left themselves so much to do. It's an opportunity for him to have a bat here and get a feel for conditions for future games.
Yeah, look, it's one thing about Pakistan you can say, I mean, that's a fantastic shot over cover in that gap there, 1 bounce for 4, but Pakistan started so strong with the bat. They look really well organised. There doesn't seem to be too many weaknesses in that lineup, and certainly when it comes to the explosive batting that they showed with Abdul Razzaq leading the way. But their bowlers, they look well organised, like I said before, and there's no real weaknesses. They've all kind of played their part. And another big shot, could this go over? And it has. It's another 6.
When you see this, it's almost slightly frustrating that India have put themselves so far behind the game, because as soon as some of these players, Praveen, and now it's Vahab have opened up the shoulders. They've shown that they've got such skill to be able to clear the rope, but they've just left themselves after that very poor power play, just way too far back.
Yeah, I think sometimes, when you're chasing 200 plus, it's you maybe put some pressure, or sometimes you maybe look a little bit too far ahead and think you have to kind of do too much too early, rather than just kind of playing good cricket shots and being quite positive. You lose early wickets in this competition, certainly with only 8 aside. It puts you under a hell of a lot of pressure.
When do you think the best time to bat is? Obviously, you came in I'd say the very much the middle order. We've seen Mendes batting up the top. We've seen Razzaq up the top. Is there maybe any scope for you to maybe shuffle up, or do you think that role in the middle order is going to suit you as the competition goes on?
It's a good question, actually, because obviously after our game today, we've had a number of conversations about the order and how we can maybe get players maybe batting in a position which is going to be better for the team, but also better for their individual skill. And I think you're right. I'm not sure if the middle of the order is right for me, and we could kind of mix it up. I mean, that's the thing with the Australian team. We've got some really talented players all the way through. Even a couple of guys that had missed out tonight this morning can certainly play a role. So I think batting higher up is a really good place. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? It doesn't matter if it's 20 or 50 over competition or whatever format it is. If you can kind of get in there and dictate the game early, it's always a good time to bat. So hopefully I can maybe squeeze myself up and buy a few beers for the captain and see if he can get me up the order.
Sorry to jump in there, mate. There's another 6, and it just shows they've put their foot down, the Indians, and this may just give us a small insight into something that we may see later in the tournament, Marcus, because it took them a little while to warm up here, but all of a sudden it's raining bombs.
Yeah, well, it's just from what I've been told, this is what LMS is all about. Some big hitting, and we're seeing a great display at the moment.
And just to compliment that massive 6 down the ground, he's just rocked back and tickled that past the keeper's gloves. Lovely piece of timing and placement there. And all of a sudden, the scoreboard moves on. They're on 104 for 5. And that's a retirement for Vahab. He's been probably, with Dwidge, the pick of the Indian players by quite a distance. But it just does give us a little sniff that maybe there's a little bit more to this Indian side than what we've seen.
Yeah, I think so. I think you could probably, you'd never want to write off an Indian side in any format nor any competition. I think we've seen enough today that there's some really talented players, and that innings there is certainly that. I think it's just been a bit of a bad day for the Indian team. Pakistan, I think, have played at their best. I think the way they started with the intent with the bat has been superb. They've bowled very well. They got the early wicket, so it put India under a lot of pressure. But hey, it's only day one. There's a lot of cricket to be played in this tournament.
Well, the one thing that we haven't factored in, Pakistan have been very lucky here that obviously they've scored so many runs and took early wickets that they've not actually had to bowl Abdul Razzaq. I know, seeing him down in front, we mentioned it before, he looked extremely stiff. So age has maybe caught.
I was going to say, he's not a youngster anymore, is he?
But even in the being able to maybe get him off the field, not having bowl in this game and save him for another game where it may be a bit closer, that could be really important later in the week. Just hinting on, obviously, as you get older and you start to, your role in a team changes. You spoke about fielding in 2020 cricket. Did you notice your position changing in the field as your career went on?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's another great shot from the Indian team there, just wide of mid on for 4. Look, one thing that I was never in the bracket of being quick around the field or overly athletic. I was my main job was being in the slip. So 2020 came along, and I tended to try and hide at 45 or somewhere along the line, and I did exactly the same today. I found a position where hopefully I wasn't going to be in the hot spot too much, but it's not necessarily a young man's game, but I think we've seen in general from the elite level of international cricket to domestic cricket to even club cricket, I think the standard of fielding has certainly increased, and you don't tend to hide many guys. You kind of expect everyone to contribute in the field, and that's another hell of a shot over mid-on for 6.
KB's came in here, loving the black shoes. I'm always a big fan of people customising their outfits, and you have to be some player to pull off the black treads.
So, as soon as he's walked in, he's just got this attitude and demeanour about him that he just means business.
Maybe the Indian order maybe could be flipped on its head, because I'm really enjoying this this late attitude to it. Maybe it's still game on at 19 and over. Assad 1 for 35. 1 ball left in his spell. Straight down the ground, very quick outfield here. It's going to test the fielder. A lovely piece of footwork there. There's nothing wrong with the boot. Oh, bit of excitement from Dwidge there, and that brings to the end of that over. So that's 119 for 5.
One of the things I've loved in a very short time of this World Series is from the opening ceremony dinner last night to just seeing the games unfold today, that there's such an enthusiasm for it. The patriotism for playing for your country, and what a competition to have where you can have domestic amateur players representing their country at this level. I just think it's a fantastic concept, and all credit to LMS to this kind of competition has grown around the world, and we can have this competition. We got countries representing themselves, and they're very proud, and it's great. And you can see it. You can see the way they play. You can see the passion in the way they play, and I just think it's fantastic for amateur cricket.
Talking about people representing themselves, the countries at a World Cup, Marcus. This is obviously something you never got to do as an international with Australia, so it must be great in the twilight of your career.
It's brilliant. I'm loving it. I said it last night. I did a Q&A with Nick Compton, and I one day format, certainly international level, wasn't my strength really, and this is my first World Cup, and I'm loving it. I've got the canary yellow on, and it's absolutely brilliant, and the guys have made me feel very welcome, the Aussie boys, and I can, like I said, talk about passion and representing your country. From what I've seen in the last 24 hours with the group of players that I'm privileged to play with, it just oozes out of them. They're just loving every minute of this.
I must admit, the opening ceremony last night, seeing all the blazers and seeing all the colour, and I just loved it. And while we're talking about how nice the opening ceremony is, it literally is. It's game on here as KB plants his foot down and hits another 6.
I tell you what, this bloke's gonna have to keep doing this if they're gonna get any close. But where was this bloke a few 5 or 6 overs ago?
Especially when you're chasing 200, I definitely think this lad maybe enjoy talking after the game, because I definitely think he could maybe talk himself up the order.
I just love that he's got black shoes on. He's got the black Under Armour, compression garments on. And look at him. Look how cool he is. He's just chilling there. He's just relaxing. He's just sitting on his back. Another 6. Come on, when's the next bowler coming on? Because I'm going to take him down.
Maybe if any of the international Kiwi lads are watching us online today, Marcus, that maybe they could. I could imagine Tim Southey or Trent Bolt running in with a pair of black treads on. It'd be following on from KB from LMS India. That would be something special.
He's got the MS Dhoni style too. No hat, no helmet.
But straight away, it's shown, hasn't it? He's came in, he's 19 off 5 balls, and all of a sudden, Abbas's figures of 0 for 44 off 3.5 overs. He's bowled a wide. He's putting Pakistan under all sorts of pressure.
That's another 4. I mean, this bloke's coming number 7. I think they need to have a bit of a debrief after this match. I mean, hey, look, it's not over. I mean, there's still a few overs left to go, but he's going to have to continue to hit these out the ground if India are going to come close. But I tell you what, he's putting a good case to the captain and team manager to get himself up the order for a bit of a accelerate the strike rate, which was probably what they needed at the start of this innings.
There's nothing better than a lower order player coming in and showing up the batters. I think, though, it makes for great talk in the bar afterwards about how the batters have got it wrong, and it was easier when I went in and whatnot. And he's shown really good game awareness there. He knows it's a wide down the leg side. He probably could have tried to maybe get a single or a 2, but he took the 3 for the wide, and that takes us to the end of the 17th over, and he's managed to maintain the run rate of 20 and over for the last 2 overs.
I think 65 runs off, 16 balls there. I think that's going to be a little bit tough. I think he's actually caught for the helmet, which is a bit disappointing, but
it's nice to see someone get off the fence. LMS founder Wayne Grieve has managed to sit on the fence pretty much throughout the whole day, trying not to upset any other franchise at all. So and KB, to be fair, not only has he called for the helmet, he's gone for the backward hat as well, behind the helmet as well. So this guy's got his own flair.
He's definitely a character, there's no doubt about it. I mean, back in my home country, Australia, that's what I used to see. It's more slip, slop, slap, you know, a bit of a hat backwards just to keep the sun off. But no, he's definitely got his own style. He looks, like I said, he means business, and I like seeing those guys because, you know, a bit of character in the game is always good.
Well, in Australia, there's obviously turf cricket, and there's I don't know what you call it. We call it AstroTurf cricket.
Yeah, same here.
And I know from luckily spending a few seasons over in Tassie that we were playing turf cricket on one pitch at what was deemed to be a really good level, and, you know, very professional. And then the guys called the Diggers were playing on the back, and there was probably some more talented players on their pitch than ours who looked like they were having a great time. 40 overs a side, 4s and 6s everywhere. You know, they looked like there's about 40 wickets a game and 900 runs. So, you know, look, these guys coming out here and playing with flair and excitement, it's great to see. As he gets out, sorry about that.
It says him right, he got the helmet on. What is he doing? That's a good Yorker there by Mohammed. But yeah, look, I mean, that was a fantastic little cameo, and like you said, he's shown a few of the top order how it was done. You know, he kind of came in obviously a little bit late, but you know, had too much work to do. But that was a good Yorker. Looked like a bit of a reverse swing there. But you're right. You're talking about the standard of these players, and you know, I've been involved in high-level club cricket in this country as you are at this great club, and you know, at times you're looking at overseas players or recruiting players, and you know, a lot of these guys, their cricket is LMS. You know, and they don't play, you know, high-level grade cricket necessarily in Australia or around the countries that they're from. But I tell you what, we've seen today. We've seen some amazing talent that I'm sure you would agree that there's some guys here that you'd snap up and want to play on a Saturday at high-level Premier League cricket in this country. Well,
I must admit, watching Singapore before, I was thinking, well, could we be the first team in the country to have a Singapore overseas player?
Well, why not? Why not?
You know, we had a look at Afghanistan. Were obviously doing very, very well a couple of years ago in the ICC kind of futures tournament, I guess.
Yeah, and they've got the world #1 T20 bowler now.
Yeah, he's something else, isn't he?
He's amazing.
But I really liked Shazad, the keeper. I just think, you know, he's just so full of life and character, and, you know, watching, you know, some of this today, and you can see how passionate some of these guys are. You can see what it means to them, and obviously with just over 2.5 overs to go, India need another 20 runs to make sure they secure the losing bonus points here. So that's probably the most pressing thing for them at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I know that from the Australian perspective, in the game before this, that, you know, once we kind of felt that we were out of the game from a winning point of view, that bonus point, you just never know how important that might be in the end of the week. So you're probably right. India's probably got that focus right now.
Straight into the block hole again, and just when we thought India were just gaining that little bit of momentum at the end of the innings, we've seen two very, very quick wickets here, and that's just a really good bit of bowling there. Standard death bowling, and it doesn't matter what standard you play at the top level or lower down, that's going to cause problems.
You're spot on. I mean, we've just seen an over of real high skill, and both those wickets showed that the skill of bowling a Yorker with maybe a little bit of a reverse swing. But hey, there's not a country or a franchise in high-level world cricket that wouldn't love for a guy to kind of be able to execute like that, and we've just seen Mohammed do that.
And to put a further nail in India's coffin, that was Vahab, who was actually a retired batsman. So he's come back out after scoring a brilliant 50, and straight away he's been found out by an excellent piece of death bowling.
Talk about young man's game. Last man stands. You can't make a single. You either got to run a 2, hit 4, or hit a 6.
What would your technique be?
I'd hope I don't find myself in this position, because like I said, there's never been a time in my career that I've been called fast between the wickets. So I'd be trying to hit boundaries here.
Well, I've sadly been on the wrong end of one of your late innings onslaughts, Marcus, and
there wasn't a lot of quick 2s there, was there?
There certainly wasn't, and there was plenty of balls flying into the South Northumberland housing estate which surrounded the ground. quite happily mention that it was Warren Goodwin bowling. But up to that point, it had been a very patient knock. But this guy, Dwidge, has got a massive job to do here. We spoke about this bonus point. He needs to find in this next one and a bit overs 19 runs from somewhere.
Well, it's the first time I've seen a last man stands batting by himself, and that was our Australian's captain. And he did the job. You know, he got us through to that bonus point. So, you know, he's I tell you what, those 4 byes are going to certainly help the cause.
That's one thing I think from this first day that we've watched. We've seen a couple of teams employ full-time wicket keepers, and we've seen some teams go with the batsman keeper option. I think as the week goes on, especially as it starts to spin and it starts to go up and down a little bit, the wicket, which any club cricket wicket would with this amount of cricket on, I think that the job of the keepers is going to become really tricky.
Yeah, I agree too, and it's not just about, you know, taking the balls from a bowling delivery, but it's also being clean around the stumps, or, you know, from the throws coming into the field. You know, I think they're the ones that you get the full-time keepers that have that kind of class to make some poor throws look good, and, you know, I think having that out-and-out keeper is going to be pretty important. Did they not play LBs in this competition?
Well,
I didn't see that on the screen.
He was extremely lucky earlier in the innings where the ball pitched a little bit outside leg.
You got a replay here, and I think you're spot on. Good umpiring that. He's good from here. Definitely pitched that side leg.
Out and out batsman, Marcus. So you know, it's either pitched outside leg or hit me outside off. So, you know, no point changing a habit of a lifetime.
No, I couldn't agree more, mate.
So for you, so you're up for the whole week, are you? What's the plan?
I'm here tomorrow, and then I'm back down on Friday. So hopefully we can change our ways tomorrow and get off to get a win under our belts. I mean, they've got a confident group of players, like I said, talented Australian team. So we came up against a very organised Sri Lankan side today, and which I think will probably go quite deep in the competition. So, you know, it's certainly no embarrassment to lose to such a team. But it's important that we pick the pieces up and get some points tomorrow and play well. We'll learn a lot about our team and the way we kind of balance ourselves from our batting lineup and try and eliminate some of the mistakes we made in the field today. But the other guys seem pretty confident. Like I said, some talented group, and get a couple of wins, and, you know, we should be competing at the back end of the weekend.
And realistically, that's all you ask for, isn't it? You just want to get out the group stage and be able to at least compete at, you know, the latter stages. Quite a fortunate 4 from Dwidge there, as he Chinese cuts it down to the fine leg boundary, which does mean he actually puts him in play for the opportunity to get the bonus point, because obviously you get the home run off the final ball.
That's right, yeah, and I think we saw that with Pakistan, didn't they? They hit a 6 off that last ball. Their innings, and it counts for 12.
Absolutely. Felt very, very sorry for Praveen. He bowled an amazing last over, had gone for 3 runs, and then 1 ball later he's gone for 15. See, that's the thing now. There's absolutely no value in Dwidge potentially trying to run himself out. He might as well hang back for that final ball.
Yeah, I think you're right. I tell you what, it's amazing when you, like I said, come from more of a traditional background where you've got 11 players on the field. You've only got 3 on the off and 3 on the leg. It's amazing how many times you find the fielder.
Just punched down the ground again. And like, oh dear. Dwidge has gone, has decided to, he's got back. He's judged that very, very well. But he's still realistic. Oh, that was the final ball. Sorry, the scoreboard haven't quite caught up with us. So well done to LMS Pakistan. They've ended up winning this derby game quite comfortably. And as one of the players runs onto the pitch with the flag as well, I know how proud both nations are. I know what a massive rivalry this is. So I'm sure the Pakistan lads will be having a lot of friends and family watching at home, and they'll be absolutely delighted with this today. And I think they've shown the whole tournament that they could be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I think it's arguably, well, being Australian, I would say the Ashes against England would be the biggest rivalry, but I think we all know that India versus Pakistan is a huge deal in the cricketing world, certainly in Asia, and Pakistan will no doubt take a lot out of this win. I think India shouldn't be too disheartened by this. I think they showed some really good character at the back of the innings. We saw some really good cameos. There's no doubt they left it maybe possibly a little bit too late, but that's what happens when you lose some early wickets. But you got to give credit to Pakistan. They looked very organised today. They came out of the blocks flying. Huge credit to Abdul Razzaq. He's a world-class player. He's shown it on the international stage, and he must be in his early 40s now, but he still looked in fine form. I spoke to him last night, and he said he was training and been preparing for this competition this week, which doesn't surprise me. But Pakistan looked very well, played a really good all-round game, but don't write India off just yet. I think they'll still have a big impact to play over the coming days.
Well, as the two teams make it off the field, and Pakistan just get a commemorative photo of this famous win, I'd like to thank you, Marcus, for popping over and spending a bit of time in the box with me today, and we'll just wait for Nick to get the player of the match over to the interview area there. But I tell you what, you couldn't be anywhere better at the moment. It's absolutely roasting.
I tell you what, I'm going to say this live on air, that the Aussie boys even said it was, geez, Marcus, how hot is it? They're really baking, and I've always said this, in the UK it's a different heat. If you get up to mid to high 20s, it feels like mid 30s back home in Australia. And this summer has just been amazing. We've just what a opening day to have. Clear blue skies and fantastic weather and some really good cricket to match. So we've got another couple of exciting games to come. I'm looking forward to seeing how England go in the last game of the day.
Well, it's a massive game, isn't it? England, Scotland. You don't get much bigger. Well, in footballing terms, that'd be a massive rivalry.
Hey, talk about football terms. What we've seen the cricketing terms several months ago when Scotland turned you guys over,
and then we turned Australia over. So technically, that means that Australia are worse than Scotland.
Come on, mate. We had our third 11.
I must admit, mate, I'm extremely excited to see some of the Australian players back. Obviously, I know some of the guys have made some mistakes, and they're spending, when arguably your best players in your country are playing in the Canadian Premier League. It's a sad moment, really.
Yeah, I mean, without going into too much data, it was very disappointing, those events that happened, and sometimes they happen for a reason. And I think Justin Langer, as the new coach now, will instill, certainly contribute to a change of culture, which I think the Australian cricket team needed. But those guys are doing their time. But they're out of top level cricket for some time now. So, but yeah, it's the way it is. But like I said, it's LMS time, and it's some really good cricket we've seen over the first 3 matches of the first day.
Well, I must admit, I was quite surprised that Mr. Smith, Warner and Bancroft weren't drafted in for this, as it's not officially affiliated. But we're delighted to have you here, Marcus, for tomorrow and for Friday, and hopefully at the back end of the week we may see you in the latter stages as well. But we're going to go over to Nick Compton and the player of the match.
Well, what a brilliant matchup between these two pantheons of cricket, India playing Pakistan, and there's only ever one winner. Pakistan got a huge 202 after their allotted 20 overs, and India fell short at only getting 150. I've got the losing captain, Mr. Kohli. Not a great start in the competition, but a big score to chase.
Yeah, actually we had a huge target to chase, but as we just saw, the batting order just collapsed. Me and Kanishk and the Akshad, top 3 batsmen out of 4. We were playing with 4 top batsmen. Only one Weber scored well.
He got 50 runs.
Yeah, he's the only one who scored 50, and Kshitij actually scored well and make us get a total of 150. But I was hoping that we should have win this match. Actually, it was the first match of the tournament. But nevertheless, we had a good game. It was in a good spirit. And we're hoping to get back in the tournament again in the next match by tomorrow.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, obviously a very big score. What's the key to trying to chase a big score? You need partnerships, obviously.
Yeah, we need the partnership. Even the batting order also today was not that happened today. Even I was not supposed to open, but just due to the big score, my team forced me to come up. And I was usually planning to go at number 4. And that's okay. it's not our day, it's their day. They played well actually.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, and hopefully, like your cousin, you can get a big 100 in the next match, huh?
Sure.
Thanks. I've got man of the moment and former teammate Abdur Razzaq. Lovely to see you, mate. Well played. That was some blistering hitting there. You must have really enjoyed that, huh?
I did a little bit, but wasn't in the practice, so need more practice. Hopefully, we'll be more better.
It's nice to see you back playing cricket. You've had 3 years out and you've had a bit of a rest from the game, but still a young man, I can see, and lots to give to the game of cricket.
Yeah, you can see, but body is sore everywhere, so need more practice, more training to get into the big target. I got playing first-class domestic cricket this year, so looking forward to that.
And tell me, how was the conditions? How was the pitch? It seemed to come on quite well?
Yeah, always, it's a pleasure to playing in UK, England, always, and atmosphere-wise, condition-wise, pitch, ground, everything's brilliant.
Well, mate, it's great to see you smiling again. Great to have some of the support, big support, India and Pakistan. So that wraps up the game. Pakistan clear winners in this big encounter today, and we've got some more great matches coming up, so stay tuned.